to the Nasboys podcast. Now, did you know that in the 1988 Firecracker 400 at Daytona, Bill Elliott came from 38th to get the victory, leading the final 23 laps and winning by 3 feet over Rick Wilson? It was a really interesting race with some great pit strategy and a close finish. So, anyways, guys, welcome to the Nasboys podcast. I'm your host, Mike, or as Christian apparently wants to call me today, Browatis, even though I don't look like him whatsoever. Comment down below if I look like him. But anyways, I'm Mike, aka Mike Flop Fan 101. You guys might know that, but if you're new here, welcome. With my good friend and co-host Christian, aka Savage NASCAR.
What I do, Nasboys crew, it's just me and Mike today, but we got a lot of topics to get into. We got lots of things to discuss. We got some good, we got some bad, and we got some sad. So, yeah, a lot of different things we're going to get into today. One thing I just wanted to say real quick, thank y'all for y'all's support, obviously with our channel, and also for your support with our car crash reactions. Honestly, like the last one we did, y'all really enjoyed that. So, if y'all want us to keep doing them, let us know. Anyways, take the
Yeah.
stage.
Well, to elaborate a little more on the car crash reaction, if you guys want to see us do more, don't hesitate. Send some videos over. Our social medias are all in the description. You can send us whatever video, even if it's not a car crash reaction, even if it's like just a normal video you guys want us to react to. Go ahead. We love doing the reactions. You guys seem to love watching them. So we'll go ahead and keep doing them for y'all. And also the talks episode. If you guys want to see another episode where we talk about life, even though that episode was like 3 months old because I got lazy, let me know. We'll do another one because
Yeah,
we had a lot of fun recording that. But
yeah.
to get to this weekend's races over at Nashville, it was great to finally see NASCAR back after the off week. I was very bored the entire time. With the off week, obviously, not really the
Yeah.
racing. But yeah, it was great to see the cars and trucks back. But kicking things off with the truck race, what did you think?
Well, first off, you said that viewers could send anything they want to us, right? Any videos. Imagine someone just sends us like mermaid finding videos, like we talked about in the talks episode. That'd be kind of weird. But anyways, back to what we're really here for. Okay, so the truck race was at night. I didn't I wasn't really like had huge expectations for it, obviously. I just knew I had a feeling it was gonna be a wreck fest. There was some wrecks in it. We saw Haley Deegan make a mistake, get loose, and slide up cause that one wreck. But
it's the 45 of Lawless Allen. He had a bit of a moment over in 1 and 2.
Speaking of which, 13, Haley Deegan. Jack Wood around the outside of the 51. He has contact. Caution is out. First time tonight at lap 5.
Just a really impressive drive by Carson Hocevar. He led 40 laps in the race, which wasn't the most, but he got the win. He held off Zane Smith, who was a real favorite to win. Obviously, Nick Sanchez, who was on the pole, led 37 laps, and then Corey Hyman at 57. He ended up finishing fourth. But one driver I was really happy to see finish the top 10 was Tyler Ankrum. I know he doesn't, he's not one of the top truck series drivers that people would say, but he is a guy that I've been watching over the last couple of years and like, man, I really hope he can win sometime and get some more seat time and more experience. And he's been running, he's had a lot of decent runs over the last couple of years, but always has something happen. So it's good to see him finish in the top 10. Jake Drew was a surprise name. I hadn't heard of him before. He ended up finishing 12th in the race, but Tony Bredinger was in this race. So a lot of people consider her the next what women, I don't know how to describe this, but the next top female driver other than Haley Deegan. And there's a lot of people that probably sent for her too. But anyways, she ended up finishing in 17th. But what did you have to think about it? Honestly, I would give this race like a 5 out of 10.
I thought it was okay. There was a lot of close racing, and especially at the start, it was really good. We saw like 3, 4 wide for second, which was really good. And it was just close quarters the whole night. There were a lot of kind of incidents. To see Carson and Corey Heim battling out every week, it seems like that's been really cool. I've enjoyed seeing them battle for wins, and Corey Heim led the
Yeah.
most laps, I believe, with 57, so that was pretty good. I hope he gets a win sometime. I think he's a really good driver. But yeah, overall the race was just I mean, it was a typical truck race, kind of what I expected would happen at Nashville.
Yeah.
Besides, you said it'd be a wreck fest, but we did see a wreck fest, which we'll get into in a little bit. But overall, I thought it was okay. Congrats to Carson. It was cool watching him win a race actually legit instead of, controversy, which is something that I feel a lot of fans have wanted to see. So I'm really happy for him, and I really want to see him get an Xfinity ride next year full time because I think that he's pretty much ready. Besides
Yeah.
winning the championship in the trucks, and he's just been running really well in the Xfinity for the 77, and of course trucks. He's just dominating. But yeah, congrats to Carson. Decent race. I'll probably give it like a 6.
Yeah, I agree with your points there. Carson Hocevar, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he gets a Xfinity ride next year. I mean, with how he's been running lately, and he's really talented on many different types of tracks.
I think he's going to get the 8, either that or whatever team. I believe it's Spire will make the 77 full time. But either way, they got to give that guy a full time ride in Xfinity. So, taking a look at what you guys had to say, 0% said great, 100% said good. So yeah, obviously, no thoughts, no driver of the day. I give it to Corey Heim.
Ooh, Corey Heim. Well, personally, I would give it to Hocevar. I mean, Heim did lead the most laps, but he's actually now the points leader, which is surprising me. Zane Smith lost the points lead
Yeah,
to Heim,
I
so
mean it makes
that's quite
sense.
interesting.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
Zane Smith has been awful 2 races. He had a couple of wrecks and then finished second last week. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and another thing to note, one driver that's been falling a little bit in the standings is Christian Eckes. He was up towards the top 4. He fell down to 6. Enfinger went up to 3. And another driver that I found surprisingly in the top 10 is Matt Benedetto. Even though he hasn't led much laps. He's only led 14, but he's been up front. He's had 7 top 10s, which is more than Smith and Eckes. So he's been running pretty well lately. And then Matt Crafton's just his consistent self without winning anything.
yeah, definitely. Taking a look at the Wreckfest Xfinity race, what did you think?
It was a wreck fest. That's all you can really say. I mean, there was like 3 wrecks in the first 11 laps. Just absolute carnage. I thought that I'm pretty sure I picked Austin Hill. Am I wrong? I think I did
No,
pick
you're
him to win,
correct.
and he got taken out. Yeah, he ended up wrecking. But yeah, some big names, drivers that you would usually see up towards the front got taken out with some of those wrecks. We see Hocevar was in one of them. Ty Gibbs. I think one of either you or Cam picked Ty Gibbs to win.
Cam picked Ty Gibbs, yeah.
Yeah, he got taken out.
21 to launch on these old tires. There you see it, 3 wide. Cole Custer knows this is his move. He backs off. Down in the turn, contact. The 19's around.
21 up the racetrack, caught the 19. Caution comes out again. And Carson Hocevar in the 77 also involved. AJ Allmendinger slides sideways.
Yeah, big contact with the 77 into the door of the 19.
We saw Brandon Jones, if I'm correct, got into a wreck.
Strong so far. 3 wide down into turn 1. Oh, we got a spin. Sammy Smith's in the wall.
And Sheldon Creed, it looked like, got into the back of him.
Brandon Jones collected.
Just crazy stuff there. Cole Custer actually from the pole at 32 laps. He was pretty impressive, and it ended up finishing 9th in this race. And we already talked about him, but Zane Smith, he was in the Xfinity race. He in the 28 Ford. He ended up finishing 7th, but the driver that ended up winning the race was AJ, which is pretty crazy. It's his first oval race victory of the season. It's the first time I've seen him win on an oval in a while. So congrats to him. His 17th win in the Xfinity series. I feel like it would be cool to see him winning Cup on an oval. But anyways, I thought the Xfinity race was okay. Probably give it a 4. out of 10.
I think I have to agree with a 4 out of 10. We saw it's just too much of a wreck fest. It was like the first 5-10 laps, they couldn't keep it straight, and it was very predictable that they would wreck. Like there was one
Yeah.
wreck like late in the race with like I want to say 20 or 30 to go. I can't remember who all was in it exactly, but I just knew the way they were racing, they were getting so racy, bunched up together. I was like, they're gonna wreck, watch. And I called it, they wrecked. Um,
Yeah.
the wreck that surprised me the most was Ty Gibbs leading the race and then taking out Carson Hocevar, who he again looked really, really solid in this race. I thought he had a top 5 car, and Gibbs had the best car all day. He was pulling away a lot until he ended up just screwing himself up, wrecked, took Hocevar out, which was unfortunate for Hocevar.
Yeah.
AJ Allmendinger coming back, I believe it was off of pit strategy, so that was pretty impressive. Good call from colleague. But, how about Riley Herbst? I mean, we don't see that guy up front a ton, and he almost won that race. I saw some people like claiming AJ got disqualified and Riley Herbst was going to get the win. Which what?
What?
No, I think I just saw like one post off of that. That
What?
joke's old. Let's see.
Yeah.
Austin Hill actually he did get wrecked, yes, but he ended up rebounding to finish 4th. So that's
Yeah,
a solid drive
I
there.
know, but without the wreck, he would have probably won. I'm just going to say that right now because, yeah, I mean, with his car, with how he's run on like tracks every 1.5 miles, 2 miles, he's just really good at those. As we saw
Right.
at Daytona and some of these other tracks, like that's why I was saying he could have won that race. Like he just got taken out, and it probably damaged his car some, so he wasn't able to contend at all.
Yeah. I
Except for me
mean,
first.
he is a very solid driver on all types of tracks like a Hocevar, and that's something that these teams are looking for. Another driver that I want to mention, Parker Retzlaff. I believe he's in his first full-time season. He finished 10th, and this guy, I think I know we talked about him a couple times on the show, but this guy came out of nowhere. He's got a lot of big things for him. I'd like to see where his future holds. So, anyways, taking a look at what you guys had to say, 0% said great, 75% said good, 25% meh/okay, and nobody said bad. Dalton.b.malak_6 says, started off as a wreck fest 10 laps ish in, but after stage 1, we got to see some good battles. Agreed. There was a lot of pretty solid racing going along the track. And 60s and 70s NASCAR said too many wrecks. No driver of the day. I will give it to Austin Hill for rebounding from that wreck, but Chandler Smith did lead the most laps, and he was up front, even though he ended up finishing 12th.
I'm going to give it to Hill. A little biased because I picked him, but real quick before we get into the Cup race, I just want to look over the Xfinity standings real quick, just a glimpse. The playoffs, drivers already locked in the playoffs. We know are Nemechek, Hill, Allgaier, Custer, Smith, Berry, Burton, Creed, Smith, Mayer, Herbst, and Hemrick. But one driver that's currently out of the playoffs, there's 2 of them that are big ones, and that is Brandon Jones and Parker Kilgerman. Kilgerman's he's led 29 laps this year. He does have a stage win, but he only has 5 top 10s and 15 starts. Don't know if that's going to get you in. And then there's Brandon Jones, who only has 3 top 10s and 15 starts. I feel like Jones has probably been the biggest, I don't like to use this word, but disappointments of the season. Like you would expect Jones to, with the equipment that Junior Motorsports has, to run better, but he's been caught up in a lot of wrecks. To be fair, but he's out. I feel like with Nemechek being at top of the Xfinity point standings with 12 top 10s and 15 starts, really impressive. He is a really aggressive driver, though. He does have the most laps led so far this season, 457 and 4 stage wins. So, yeah, he's a title favorite. But some other notables, Cole Custer moved up to 4th in the standings. Chandler Smith moved up to 6th. One driver that's definitely a little surprising to see and moving up is Josh Berry. Even though Berry, he does have 11 top 10s this year. And obviously we saw the news with last week with Shooter Haas Racing. He he moved up to fifth in standings, but he hasn't been very, very. I would say he's been a little quiet, on the Xfinity side lately. Just with some of his performances, but I'm sure he could get a win this year, a couple more wins, I should say.
Yeah. I mean, I guess
He doesn't have a win yet, but he's basically in the playoffs at the moment via points.
Yeah. Yeah, I get what you're saying, but bringing up Josh Berry, it segues into the point. He's now the new driver of the Ford. He's replacing Kevin Harvick. This is what I expected, and this is what I feel like a lot of people expected. And here's my take on this. I have a little bit of a mixed opinion. I feel like that he was a decent replacement, especially since SHR needs to rebuild, and Josh Berry is a decent enough driver to help you rebuild.
Yeah.
But I feel like that they should have gone with Zane Smith, considering he's on the younger side. He's been more experienced in the lower series, and he has a championship in one of the lower series versus Josh Berry. But maybe we'll see Zane Smith in a car. I don't know. I mean, I like that Tony Stewart, at least he gets drivers that actually work their way up the series.
Yeah, I like that.
I'm not saying Zane Smith doesn't, but I just wanted to point out I like that Tony Stewart picks people. So
yeah.
Overall, I think it was a decent move, but I just feel like Zane Smith would have been a better choice. But Josh Berry isn't a terrible choice, obviously. So it's just something that I feel I have a mixed opinion about, if you will.
I know this is a little bit of a controversial opinion I'm about to say, but you talked about how Stewart, he likes drivers who work their way up and all that. Probably don't have a huge family racing background. Briscoe has a racing background. I don't know if he's contradicting himself with that. I don't care. I'm just laying that out there. Briscoe's my guy, but he has family racing history.
I'm not sure. I don't know if he means like that or if he means like somebody with a guaranteed
money, right?
Right, like Elliott, for example.
Chase Elliott. That's a shot at Chase. That's crazy. These Chase stands are going to go after you after that one.
I don't care that they can kiss my you know what.
Oh,
man. But yeah, I guess we can get into the cup race now. What did you think of it?
What do you think of it?
Boring.
Oh, we know reverse. No, okay. So I was happy to see my guy Ross Chastain go back to victory lane. I was so happy for him because he was on the pole and he showed that he was the most talented that day. I mean, he went out there, was making passes. He didn't win every stage, but he passed. One thing I thought was funny was him passing Hamlin multiple times for the lead. Hamlin, what do you guys say about that? But anyways, he got by Truex Jr. late in the race and ended up winning, but I thought that the Chevys were pretty strong considering there was a couple of Toyotas up front. I mean, Eric Jones, he drives Chevy. He's in the top 10. AJ Allmendinger, who won the Xfinity race, was in the top 10. Then you got the Hendrick drivers of Elliott, Larson, and Byron in the top 10. But obviously, the most dominant car was Chastain. He led 99 of the 300 laps. Hamlin led 81, and Truex led 50. But to see Trackhouse Racing go to victory lane for first time this season, it's about time. I mean, I would expect more wins, considering what happened last year. I thought there'd be more wins this year coming, but it took a while, but they finally got it done. And it was pretty cool to see my guy Ross Chastain go back to victory lane and not be in controversy again for another weekend. But one thing I will say is my fantasy team would have been really good if Logano didn't fall off at the end of the race, and if Bo Wallace didn't fall off towards the end of the race, and then Reddick had his tire fell off. So I was doing fine fantasy wise until that happened. But also I had Hamlin, Chastain, Logano, Wallace, and I want to say either had Elliott or Truex on my fantasy team. And yeah, I saw you were ahead of me in our fantasy league, which I'm not surprised because you had some good picks as well. But I was proved wrong by my Larson pick. I thought Larson would have, contended more. I felt like he could have led more. He didn't even lead at all, in fact. So, it is what it is. I thought that the race was pretty solid. It could have been better. I think it was like a 6 out of 10. I felt like it was a little bit better than the truck race. A little biased because of Chastain. But one driver I'll say that was really disappointing in this race, there's a couple of them. Kevin Harvick in 24th, a lap down. I thought he would have ran better. And then Chase Briscoe finishing 31st out of, like, bro, come on. I like you, Briscoe, but you're not doing too well, bud. You might get replaced in a year if you're not careful. What did you think, though, about the Blaney incident and the wreck that happened on that restart?
Contact! The 6 falling back quickly.
Big crash back
Here
here.
comes Blaney around. Kyle Busch going in. Will they miss the wall? A close call there. Blaney may have gotten into he did hard into the inside wall.
This car was headed.
Yeah, that all started way ahead of him right there. Oh, that is such a massive hit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was really weird. The wreck itself was a racing incident, but I do got to complain that there was no safer barrier on the concrete wall because I thought that NASCAR had made it a rule after Kyle Busch's crash that there were going to be safer barriers all over the track, and
that's what they say.
Right, and I guess Nashville didn't get the memo. So, and it's in such a place where that can happen. I mean, like we said earlier, we've seen a lot of wrecks in the Xfinity and truck race. That type of wreck can happen on those restarts, and there needs to be a safer barrier there. I don't understand why Nashville couldn't do that. They've had this track for 2-3 years at this point, back up and running for the all the NASCAR series, and they can't put a safer barrier there? Really? Like, that's stupid. And I hope that we don't see that Blaney's out with a concussion, because if it is, that's Nashville's fault. And Ryan Blaney said he would offer to pay for it. So Nashville, you got to get your stuff together and put a safer barrier there. That's ridiculous that there was no safer barrier on that wall. But
you have to think about this too. You don't see many wrecks at that part of the track. I'm not making any excuses. I'm not saying NASCAR wasn't wrong with not having a safer barrier down there. I'm just saying there's not many wrecks that happen at that part of the track. And it looked like Blaney didn't even slow down at all either. It was kind of I know people said it was a huge hit, but I've seen worse wrecks on inside walls. It wasn't the end of the world. I saw some people saying it was like the worst accident at Nashville Speedway and all this stuff. I'm over here like y'all are a little bit overreacting, and I'm not calling one out. I'm just saying I'm in some NASCAR chats that people acted like it was the biggest deal on earth. So,
I mean,
that's all I gotta say.
I agree with you. It was not a horrible accident by any means. I've seen way worse at other tracks, but it's like, I don't know. It's like, I understand your point where there isn't that many wrecks on that point of the track, but to just keep the drivers safe, they should just add it just as a safety precaution.
Yeah, obviously.
But yes, I don't know. It was just stupid that there wasn't a safer barrier. But going into the race itself, I had mixed reviews on this race because the first part of the race was very boring. I didn't like how the cars were able to pull away so easily. But then once we started getting more like later in the race, like late stage 2 and stage 3, I really liked how they had more of a feel for who had the best cars. Like we saw Hamlin, Chastain, Truex, Reddick before his incident. Those were really the more dominant cars, in my opinion. And I liked watching those guys battle, especially with the last like 80 laps with Chastain, Truex, and Hamlin all battling together. That was really fun racing. And it was something that I was really looking more for. And I'm glad that we were able to see that. Chastain winning the race was pretty cool because, one, he did it without controversy like his technical teammate, Hocevar. And two, this was Trackhouse's home track. So it's cool to watch them get a win there. And Chastain really needed a win. He was having a couple rough weeks, and it's about time he got a win. He's had some good pieces.
Exactly.
And it's time for him to get a win. So congratulations to Chastain. Happy to see him win. And maybe there'll be more to come. But speaking of Chastain, his teammate Suarez, he kind of looked a little dumb, if you ask me. So my take on this, a lot of people are blaming this on Chase Briscoe for some reason because he was speeding down the track and he was too high on the pit road. Yes, he was too high on the pit road or to go on pit road. He was like toward the middle of the track when he should have been on the bottom of the track. But how are you gonna you're committed to the pit road line, right? How are you gonna commit to the pit road line and then immediately shoot out into traffic? Because what if there was a car going normal speed, or what if like Bubba Wallace, for example, he was low on the pit road line? What if he was coming into pit road and you just smashed right into his driver's door? That was a boneheaded move by Daniel Suarez right there. I think he should have either waited for the cars to go by and wait for Briscoe to commit to pit road, or he should have just congratulated him in victory lane. There's no point in, shooting out of the pit lane like that just to congratulate Chastain when you could do it in victory lane and you guys are teammates. It's just stupid and boneheaded. I like Suarez, but come on, man, you know better than that.
Yeah, man. Yeah, some people makes mistakes in life. It is what it is.
That's true.
What do the people have to say about it, though? What do the people have to say about the race?
One more thing I just want to add real quick is that Carl Edwards was there, and also the pastor Joe Noams, who did the best invocation in NASCAR of all time.
Honestly, you disagree with the greatest because it was kind of, taking the spotlight away from what you're talking about.
Okay, that's true. But he was fun.
But it definitely was legendary, but as a Christian, is a little sus, to say the least.
It was. I will say that, but it was funny. Carl Edwards being there, I just want to make this one point before I leave. Stop asking Carl Edwards the same question every time. When are you coming back racing? When are you coming back racing?
Exactly, I get it, bro. Exactly, man.
He clearly doesn't want to come back racing. That's fine. We need to respect his decision. He's living his life. I hear he's helping people overseas. I hear he's farming. Exactly. He's enjoying himself. He made his millions off of NASCAR and he left on his own terms. Even though I disagreed that he retired and I feel like he should have stayed another few seasons and he would be great for a top tier team still.
Yeah.
I respect his decision for retiring and we should respect that too. You can't be always asking him to come back and he doesn't want to come back. You could tell that he was getting annoyed with it, that people kept asking him. That's all that happens when Edwards comes back. Let the man just enjoy his retirement and come visit the NASCAR tracks in peace. And if he wants to drive and do a one-off, that'll be cool. I'm sure the fans will be happy. I'll be happy, but don't keep bugging the guy because it'll just deter him back.
Yeah, I mean, I would be frustrated too if I were him. Being someone that works in media, it's kind of like I could see why people want to get certain responses because they want, clicks and headlines and stuff. My thing is, he's already answered the question probably like thousands of times. And and as you mentioned, you had a great point there. As a media member, even though it seems like something you want to ask, I personally want to have asked him that because everyone else is. It's just the thing is, people want to follow trends, people want to get clicks and headlines and stuff like that, and it definitely is annoying to keep hearing the same question over and over again. I'd be really annoyed. So I definitely agree to you on your points there. Would it be cool to see him return? Yes, but I'm tired of seeing all the people asking over and over again everywhere he goes. But anyways, I think Carl Edwards is a great person, obviously, and as you mentioned, he helps a lot of people, and he does a lot of great off the track. But he also is a really great driver on the track. But anyways, that's all I got to add about that.
Yeah, so 33% said great, 33% said good, 33% said mess/okay. Nobody said bad. Dalton.b.malak_6 says, saw some really good battles for position. Happy that Ross got the win and broke his slump. I agree. Driver day, nobody. I'm going to give it to Chastain.
Yeah, same. Now,
so let's get into this week's Clown of the Week. We got another clown here for y'all.
Yeah, autograph chasers are back at it again. We saw on a post. This one is credit to Garage Guys, and Chase Holden. But basically, there's a fan that showed up to an autograph session for Ricky Stenhouse Jr. with a cart full of die casts. Do you really need every single thing on a cart signed? And here's my take. I've had my share of wanting to get autographs in the past when I was younger. And now that I've gotten older, I'm not saying it's an older, younger thing, but now that I've gotten older, I'd rather just meet the person. I'd rather shake their hand. I'd rather be like, hey, man, compliment them, be like, hey, I watched this that you did, blah, blah, blah. My thing is, Stenhouse should have given him like any autographs, honestly. Like, you don't know what he's going to do with them. He's probably just going to sell them all on eBay, like a lot of these autograph chasers were doing at North Wilkesboro. Just seeking autographs, not even wanting to meet the person, just wanting something from them. And I'm not saying all fans are like this, but there's just a lot of them recently that have been getting on my nerves about hunting down, trying to basically antagonize drivers for autographs. And I saw this at Wilkesboro. I saw Michael Waltrip walking out on the backstretch, and he couldn't go a single foot without being pursued by either kids or young adults seeking an autograph. And that's all they wanted. And not wanting to be like, hey, man, it's cool to meet you. You were someone I watched growing up, whatever. So what's your take on this?
Well, obviously the guy is a clown. He's bringing a whole cart full of diecast. And if you look closely, there were a couple of them that weren't even Stenhouse's cars. I saw one with AJ Allmendinger's face on it.
No.
So that is stupid. You clearly don't know who you're going to meet, for one, if you're bringing an
Oh.
AJ Allmendinger car. But I'm not entirely against like getting autographs. Like, obviously, I'm against the autograph chasers that are just going to sell them on eBay. But like, if you want to get an autograph from somebody, like, let's say, I don't know, I bring a Joey Logano car to a meet and greet and I get him to sign that. That's cool. That's worth something to a Logano fan, and it's a cool collector's item. And it's fine to get autographs. I don't care about that. It's people like this that hold everybody else up, that really want to go meet a NASCAR driver, that just make me mad. It's like that guy had to have what? That guy had to have what? At least 20 cars? What do you need 20 cars for? Just bring one car and shut up, dude. You don't need 20 signed. You're going to hold him up. Ricky's got a lot of things to do at the track. He's got a lot of other fans, I'm sure, that want to meet him, whether they're fans of his or whether they're fans of the sport and they just want to go see a driver. So it's just stupid. It's really stupid. The guy's a clown. Even though I know he was wearing a Stenhouse t-shirt, it looked like, but he's still a clown. So who knows? He could have even bought that shirt. He could have even bought that shirt just to seem like a fan. So he's more likely to sign his autographs. I think Rick even had this shocked face, like, what the heck?
Exactly. I wouldn't blame him. I'd be like, are you kidding me? Some of these drivers, like, I was reading a book that Dale Jr. about Dale Jr. from his like rookie season. And in the book is talking about autograph chasers, and it's talking about people that all they want is just collector's items to probably sell to other people. Right. And it shows in this clip. But in that book, Junior was like, some of these fans don't care. Like, they're just ruthless, and they'll move people out of the way, trample people. And then if you don't sign their autograph, they cuss you out, say F you to somebody, or give the finger, or what I'm saying? Like, there's good NASCAR fans, and then there's just awful ones that don't represent the sport well.
Yes, of course. But I guess getting into this weekend's race, Chicago Street Course, the race that everybody has been talking about, the race that everybody has been kind of dreading, I feel like, is finally upon us.
Kind of dreading, yeah.
First of all, for the First of all, for the Xfinity race, I'm going to get into more of my thoughts once we get to the Cup race. But the Xfinity race, I feel like this race is going to be mid. And it was really hard to pick somebody. I've thought of somebody like Alex LeBay or Sage Karam, for example, that have a lot of road course experience. But then I was like, they don't really have the cars to do it. Miguel Paludo is another guy I was thinking of, but I feel like that he's not going to do it. But the guy that I do feel like is going to do it, and I kind of hope does it, is Sheldon Creed. He has been screwed over too many times in NASCAR, Xfinity Series. He's been very solid on all the road courses they've run at this weekend or this year. I think it's time for Sheldon Creed to win a race. So we'll see what he can do.
Yeah, it's a good pick, Mike. I really do like that one. Sheldon's run well on road courses in the past, and he run well earlier this year at Portland. So he got taken out. But for me, I'm going to go a little different. And usually you and Cam like to pick this guy to win. I mean, he's a fan favorite, and that is Justin Allgaier. He has plenty of road course experience. I think he can get the job done. But I do think that it's going to be hard to pass with this course. The race is called the Loop 121, which is a weird race name.
Loop?
But maybe the Loop 121. Yeah, exactly. It's going to be
name
interesting.
Is that?
To say at least it's going to be on USA Network. Yeah, I'm not gonna be able to see it because it's on a Saturday night that I'm working Dirt Vision. So here's what it is. I probably wouldn't want to watch it anyway. So that's just my take. I think it'll be a stinker. But I guess we can move on to Cup now and some of the other stuff that's been going on news-wise with Cup going into this weekend.
Well, I mean, to start, I guess my whole thoughts on this weekend, to be totally transparent with everybody, I'm not really looking forward to this race. I think that, hear me out, I will give it a chance. I will give it a chance because I am a fan of NASCAR and I do want to see them try something new. But kind of like my initial take with the LA Coliseum race, I think it's all just a stupid gimmick. I think that I think they're trying to bring NASCAR into a city that nobody asked for. Nobody asked to have NASCAR run on a street course.
Nobody asked.
No one asked. If you had like F1 or IndyCar run this street course, then I'm sure a lot of people would be looking forward to it. But NASCAR is not made for street courses. If you saw the iRacing like simulated test or whatever, right, they're not. I mean, it's going to be so hard to pass. Todd Gilliland apparently described it perfectly. He thinks that it's going to be hard to pass and there's going to be a lot of wrecks. But yeah, I'm just not looking forward to this race. I think it's a whole gimmick like the LA Coliseum. But I will say I was thinking about this earlier today. I didn't like the LA Coliseum, like I've been mentioning. But when I saw the race, I thought it was a pretty solid one and that NASCAR did a good job. But with this race, I'm just not feeling it, and we have to probably sit through it for the next 4 years. I don't know. I think it's stupid. I think it's just a way to try to get NASCAR out there to people that, to be honest, I feel are not going to care about it at all. And we'll see. I could be wrong. I could be being negative, but I don't know. I'm just not looking forward to this race. And there's another really sad tone going on in this race because of what happened to Jimmy Johnson and his family. If you have not heard yet, Jimmy Johnson's wife's parents or Jimmy Johnson's in-laws are dead. They passed away because the grandmother or Jimmy's mother-in-law, I guess she shot her nephew or Jimmy's nephew and the husband, and then she killed herself. Excuse us for, the dark tone on the Nasboys podcast. We don't want this at all, but we got to talk about it. We're the NASCAR media outlet. We have to talk about this. And, it's really sad. Jimmy Johnson had to withdraw from this race because, he has to go be with his family. And, obviously NASCAR fans 100% respect that, but it's just really sad to hear about this. My condolences go out to Jimmy and his wife, Chandra. And their kids and all of their family, prayers for them. And it's just something that you would see out of a horror movie. Honestly, it's it's disturbing to hear about this, and it's really sad and shocking. And TMZ was actually the first people to point it out that this happened.
Well, TMZ, but a lot of celebrities and news that happens, they're always like reported, like the first report people to say, oh, this is what happened, blah blah blah. We don't know all the details, obviously. It in fact just happened, but obviously my thoughts and prayers are with the Johnson family and everyone. It's very sad. It's definitely something that I didn't see like coming at all. It's a shock. Someone who's been a Jimmy Johnson fan ever since he started.
Sport, right?
I started watching NASCAR in 2004. Is his third year in the Cup Series, and being a Jimmy fan, it's been rough the last couple of years. And I know there's a post you could go check out on. We interviewed him before, but Brandon, Blue Jimmy 48.
Blue Jimmy, yeah.
He had a post that basically kind of describes sort of my thoughts as well on this whole situation. If you haven't yet, go check out his Instagram post because it just explains a lot.
Right.
But yeah, it's very sad. It's shocking, honestly. It is really tragic. So that's all I really gotta say. There's nothing else I can really say until we know more, but it's definitely a very sad day. And it'll be a sad weekend. And I hope the race goes well. I don't think it will. I'm not a fan of street courses. I know a lot of people that I've talked to that said they're not going to watch this race. I'm going to, probably, because it's on a time that I can watch it. I'm not at work. So I will be watching some of it. Maybe I'll fall asleep. Maybe not. Is there anything you want to add?
I just want to say that if I didn't do this podcast, I'm going to be honest, I probably wouldn't watch it. But since I do the podcast, I want to cover it and I want to keep the content going for you guys. But yeah, I mean, it's NASCAR. I'm off of work at that time. So that's exciting, but I'm just really not looking forward to this race. I haven't never been really looking forward to a race. And this is probably the first race that I just am not really looking forward to, but I'll still watch.
Yeah, same.
I guess my pick for this race, I'm going to go ahead and say AJ Allmendinger. He has experiences on street courses. He's a road course ringer. And I would not be shocked at all if he can get this wild card win and get into the playoffs for Colleague and turn his season around, because he has been having a rough time, and a much rougher time than I even thought he would be having.
Oh no, my pick. It's been stolen again. No. To be fair, he's obviously a favorite. I picked Reddick to win at Circuit Americas, and he did. Coda, I picked him to win there. I think that he'll be a contender. Obviously there's Chase Elliott, who's just really good at road courses, but I just don't think he's gonna win on a street course. I just don't see him winning in Chicago unless it's like a rigged thing. To be honest with you, I don't even know, man. I have no clue. But you know what? Because I promised to stay with my pick that I had, I'm going to say AJ too, because I had him. That's who I picked to win earlier. So I'm just going to stay with that pick. And if he doesn't win, I think it'll be Tyler Reddick. I think he'll be a breakfast. Not many lead changes like Xfinity race. I think the Xfinity race will just be more of a breakfast than the Cup. But I heard the ticket prices were expensive and crazy. Not really surprised. I saw at least it's not as bad as the Formula One ticket prices in the US. But anyways.
Yep. And so with that, that will conclude this week's episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. Comment, like, subscribe. Make sure you guys follow our socials. And we will see you guys in the next episode. Peace.
See y'all.
Calling now, you want me calling now. You wanted what I